Most people are preparing the wrong way. They're buying comfort food, not survival food. When a real crisis hits, almost everything in the grocery store becomes useless. Not slowly. Fast. Power fails. Prices explode. Shelves empty. And only a few foods still matter. If you wait until the crisis is obvious, you'll already be too late. Because by then, the foods that actually keep you alive will be gone. Today, I'm showing you the only 5 foods that still work when everything else fails. And why stocking them now is the difference between calm and panic later. Number 1. Flour, when real shortages begin. Flour is one of the first foods people suddenly realize they cannot live without. It does not feel important in normal times because modern life hides its value. Bread is cheap, bakeries are everywhere, and meals feel endless. But the moment systems slow down, flour stops being ordinary and starts becoming survival. History proves this again and again. When societies face war, famine, or economic collapse, flour becomes the base of survival because it turns very little into enough. Flour matters because it creates food when nothing else works. With flour, you can make bread, flatbreads, simple dough, and filling meals using almost no ingredients. When meat disappears and fresh food becomes expensive or unavailable, flour stretches calories farther than almost anything else. It feeds families, not just individuals. That is why during crisis, people rush toward it all at once, and shelves empty faster than anyone expects. The danger is how fragile flour really is. Flour does not exist on its own. It depends on wheat harvests, milling facilities, fuel, packaging, and transportation. Rising fuel costs, fertilizer shortages, and extreme weather all hit wheat production hard. Milling plants cannot instantly increase output when demand spikes. When transport slows or costs rise, deliveries fall behind. By the time stores raise prices, supply is already tight. Another mistake people make is assuming bread equals flour. They think as long as bread exists, flour will too. That is backward. Bread disappears first because it spoils quickly and depends on daily production. When bakeries slow down or shut down, flour becomes the only way to keep bread on the table. That sudden shift pushes demand through the roof. This is why flour shortages feel sudden, even though the pressure built quietly for months. Flour also disappears because people stockpile it correctly once fear hits. Unlike fresh food, it stores well. That makes it attractive to households, institutions, and emergency buyers all at once. Governments, aid organizations, and bulk buyers move early and in large quantities. Regular families arrive late and find limits, higher prices, or empty shelves. At that point, choice is gone. In past crises, flour was rationed not because it was rare, but because it was essential. Once prices rise, they rarely return to previous levels. Smaller bags replace larger ones. Quality drops. What was once cheap becomes controlled. People who waited find themselves adapting under pressure instead of preparing calmly. Flour is not exciting. It does not look like survival food. But it has kept civilizations alive for thousands of years because it works when systems fail. Ignoring flour means depending on fragile convenience foods that disappear first. Securing it early is not panic. It is understanding reality before it forces your hand. When flour starts vanishing, the crisis is already deep. Acting before that moment gives you stability while others are scrambling to catch up. Number 2. Lentils. When prices rise and systems begin to strain, the first thing most families lose is protein. Meat becomes expensive fast. It depends on feed, fuel, labor, refrigeration, and transport, all of which break down under pressure. When that happens, people feel weak, tired, and stressed long before they feel truly hungry. This is where lentils quietly become one of the most important foods you can have, even though most people ignore them until it is too late. Lentils matter because they solve a problem nothing else solves cheaply. They provide real protein, energy, and nutrition without needing refrigeration or complex cooking. When meat disappears from plates, lentils step in and keep bodies functioning. They help maintain strength, focus, and health when diets shrink and options disappear. In every economic collapse, populations that had access to legumes survived longer and recovered faster. The danger with lentils is timing. In normal life, lentils feel optional. People see them as boring or unfamiliar, so they delay buying them. But when meat prices spike and panic spreads, everyone makes the same decision at once. They look for the cheapest protein available. That sudden shift causes lentils to vanish almost overnight. Stores do not stock them in massive quantities because demand is usually steady and low. When demand explodes, supply cannot catch up. Lentil production is also more fragile than it appears. It depends on stable weather, fuel for farming equipment, and global trade routes. Droughts, fertilizer shortages, and rising transport costs all reduce supply quietly. These pressures are already present. Prices may still look manageable, but availability is tightening behind the scenes. Once exporters and large buyers move in, local shelves empty quickly. History repeats this pattern. During past food crises, lentils and similar foods were rationed or restricted because they became essential. Once people recognized their value, they stopped being cheap. Prices climbed and stayed high long after the crisis eased. That lesson is forgotten every time because people assume modern systems will protect them. There is also a psychological trap. People tell themselves they can adapt later. They believe they will switch to lentils if things get worse. That mindset fails because adaptation under pressure is chaotic. When millions of households try to change diets at the same time, shortages become unavoidable. Waiting turns a smart choice into a desperate scramble. Lentils are not comfort food. They're survival food. They stretch meals, replace expensive protein, and support health when everything else is under stress. Securing them early means acting calmly, cheaply, and intentionally. Waiting means competing with panic, limits, and empty shelves. In every crisis, the foods people ignore first are the ones they wish they had taken seriously sooner. Lentils are one of those foods. Acting before meat disappears is the difference between control and constant struggle. Number 3, pasta. Pasta feels safe. It feels normal. It feels like the one food that will always be there no matter what happens. That belief is exactly why pasta disappears so fast when pressure hits the system. In every major shortage, pasta is not just food. It becomes emotional security. Families reach for it because it is familiar, filling, and easy. And when millions of people reach for the same thing at the same time, shelves empty faster than anyone expects. The strength of pasta is also its weakness. Pasta is cheap, stores well, and feeds many people with very little effort. When prices rise and uncertainty grows, people shift toward foods that stretch their budget. Pasta becomes the obvious choice. That shift happens quietly at first, then all at once. Stores are built for steady demand, not sudden spikes. Once buying behavior changes, restocking cannot keep up. What most people do not realize is how fragile pasta production really is. Pasta depends on a specific type of wheat that does not grow everywhere and does not handle extreme heat or drought well. Rising fertilizer costs, fuel prices, and weather disruptions hit this crop hard. When production drops even slightly, the impact shows up quickly because there is no excess supply waiting in the system. By the time prices rise in stores, the shortage is already locked in. Another mistake people make is confusing availability with security. Seeing pasta on shelves today creates false confidence. But stores only carry limited inventory. They rely on constant deliveries to stay stocked. When transport slows or costs rise, deliveries stretch out. A few days of panic buying is all it takes to wipe out weeks of supply. Once limits appear, fear spreads, and buying accelerates even more. History shows this pattern clearly. During previous crises, pasta disappeared early and returned late. Prices jumped and stayed high. Package sizes shrank. Variety vanished. What was once cheap became controlled. People who waited found themselves paying more for less or going without entirely. Those who acted early avoided that stress. Pasta also becomes survival food because it does not require much to use. A simple heat source and water are enough. When fresh food spoils or power becomes unreliable, pasta remains usable. That makes it even more attractive under pressure and even more likely to disappear fast. The danger is assuming you will buy pasta later. That mindset works only when systems are stable. In crisis, later never arrives the way you expect. When pasta becomes scarce, it happens quickly and without warning. By then, preparation turns into panic. Pasta is not just comfort food. It is a bridge between normal life and survival. Securing it early is calm, rational preparation. Waiting means fighting crowds, higher prices, and empty shelves. In every shortage, pasta teaches the same lesson. The foods people trust most are often the ones that vanish first.
Number 4. Peanut butter. Peanut butter is one of the most underestimated survival foods because people see it as a snack, not a lifeline. It sits quietly on shelves, familiar and cheap, which creates a dangerous kind of confidence. When systems are stable, nobody thinks twice about it. But when power goes out, cooking becomes difficult and supply chains slow down. Peanut butter suddenly becomes one of the most valuable foods you can have. That shift happens fast, and when it does, availability disappears just as quickly. What makes peanut butter so powerful in a real crisis is how little it asks from you. It requires no cooking, no refrigeration, and no preparation. You can eat it straight from the jar. When electricity is unreliable or gas is expensive, foods that need heat become a problem. Peanut butter stays usable no matter what is happening around you. That alone puts it in a different category from most pantry food. Peanut butter also delivers something many stored foods cannot. It combines protein, fats, and calories in one place. When meat becomes too expensive or unavailable, people struggle to replace both protein and fat at the same time. Peanut butter fills that gap. It helps maintain strength and energy when meals are smaller and choices are limited. This is why families, institutions, and emergency planners all move toward it during shortages. The supply side is far more fragile than it looks. Peanut crops depend on stable weather and water. Heat waves and droughts reduce yields quietly. Processing adds another layer of risk. Peanut butter production depends on factories, packaging materials, and transportation. Rising energy costs and labor shortages slow output. None of this makes headlines until shelves start thinning. By the time prices rise, supply is already tight. There is also a powerful psychological factor. Peanut butter feels safe, especially for families with children. In uncertain times, people buy what they trust. That emotional response drives demand faster than logic. Shelves empty not because everyone suddenly needs more peanut butter, but because everyone wants reassurance at the same time. Once that buying wave starts, restocking cannot keep up. History shows this clearly. During past shortages, peanut butter disappeared early and stayed expensive long after panic faded. Once manufacturers adjust to higher costs and demand, prices rarely return to previous levels. What was once cheap becomes controlled and limited. Another mistake people make is buying peanut butter the way they always have, one jar at a time. That habit works only when systems are stable. In crisis, that delay leaves people competing with limits, empty shelves, and inflated prices. Those who prepared early avoid that stress completely. Peanut butter is not just food. It is insurance against power loss, cooking limits, and protein scarcity. Acting early means securing a reliable source of energy and nutrition while it is still affordable. Waiting means discovering its value at the exact moment it becomes hardest to find.
Number 5. Canned fish. Canned fish is one of the few foods that still works when the system truly starts breaking down. It does not look dramatic. It does not feel urgent in normal times. But in real crises, canned fish becomes one of the last dependable sources of complete protein. And that is exactly why it disappears fast when people finally understand what is happening. Fresh meat is always the first protein to fail. Depends on refrigeration, daily transport, and steady processing. When fuel prices rise or power becomes unreliable, fresh meat vanishes quickly or becomes too expensive for most families. Frozen meat follows soon after. Canned fish survives because it does not need any of that. It is already cooked, sealed, and shelf-stable. You can eat it with no power, no heat, and no preparation. That alone makes it priceless under pressure. Canned fish also provides something many survival foods lack. It offers high-quality protein and essential fats that support the body during long periods of stress. When diets turn heavy in grains and cheap calories, people start to feel weak and mentally drained. Canned fish helps slow that decline. It supports strength, focus, and recovery when options are limited. This is why it has always been part of military rations and emergency reserves. The supply chain behind canned fish is more fragile than most people realize. Fishing depends on fuel, labor, and regulation. Processing depends on factories, metal cans, and transportation. When any part of that chain slows down, production drops fast. Canned food also competes for limited metal supply, which becomes expensive during economic stress. When costs rise, companies cut production or raise prices quietly. By the time shelves look thin, the shortage is already locked in. Another critical factor is institutional buying. Governments, aid organizations, and large distributors secure canned protein early. They do not wait for panic. They move quietly and in bulk. That removes huge amounts of supply from public access. Regular shoppers only see the result: empty shelves and purchase limits. At that point, choice is gone. Canned fish also disappears because people underestimate it. They assume it will always be there because it always has been. They buy it casually, not intentionally. When panic hits, they suddenly realize its value and demand explodes. Stores are not prepared for that shift, and restocking cannot keep up. History shows that once canned protein becomes scarce, it stays that way longer than people expect. Prices rise sharply and do not fall back quickly. Package sizes shrink. Quality drops. What was once affordable becomes controlled. The people who waited find themselves adapting under pressure instead of preparing calmly. Canned fish represents the final line between stability and struggle. It works when power fails, when cooking is limited, and when fresh food is gone. Having it means you still have reliable protein when others do not. Waiting until it becomes obvious means arriving too late. Acting early means staying in control when the system is no longer forgiving. Most people prepare the wrong way because they prepare too late. They buy comfort, not survival. When a real crisis hits, choice disappears fast, and only a few foods still matter. Everything else becomes noise. You do not need fear to act. You need clarity. Right now, while shelves still look full, you have the advantage of time. Use it. Start small, but start today. Because when shortages become obvious to everyone, preparation will no longer be an option. It will be a regret.